Hi everybody. I'm here with Chuck with our friend Chuck
Cusimano.
Cusimano. Been a good friend. We've known each other for about 25 years or so. Chuck has a few disabilities that he's been able to overcome during the years, and pretty significant really, but it's amazing what he's been able to do. And I'm kind of turn it over to him and let him explain, what happened, how it came about, and then we'll show you some of the projects that he's doing, which is pretty remarkable what he's done. He's built a model railroad, he builds model cars, he's done some amazing, he turned a wheelbarrow into a go-kart, pretty amazing stuff. So here we go, Chuck.
All right, thank you, Fred. Fred said the name's Chuck. It was December 29th of 1995. It was a Friday. I started feeling like I was catching the flu. 2 days later, I was in intensive care. I spent 3.5 months in Johns Hopkins Hospital. And what they decided I had, they called it a post-splenectomy fatal pneumococcal sepsis disease illness.
Holy.
That's a mouthful.
That's a mouthful, yeah.
Okay, since then, they've shortened it to overwhelming post-splenectomy infection, OPSI. Basically what happened, in 78 I had my spleen removed, which is part of my immune system. Never really got sick. That December I had caught some sort of pneumococcal bacteria that got into my bloodstream as a result of not having a spleen, and things really went downhill from there. I was in the hospital for 3.5 months. When I left, they had amputated both my legs below my knees, all my fingers, half of my thumbs, and they hadn't amputated my nose, but the gangrene had taken my nose, so it was a hole there, so they rebuilt my nose. I was 39 years old.
Wow.
Now, back then, remember the saying, life begins at 40?
Yes.
Well, literally, just before my 40th birthday, I had to learn how to do everything all over again.
Right.
And it was a very tough time. My trade was I was a carpenter, was a locksmith. At the time I got sick, I was a maintenance supervisor at Johns Hopkins Hospital, and I had a home improvement company that I worked in the evenings and on weekends. Said it was very devastating for a lot of people that knew me, and my sister was my biggest advocate. And we won't go into a whole lot of detail, but they had amputated my legs, and I was on blood thinners because they were trying to save as much viable tissue as they could with my hands.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know what the level of amputations would be. So my sister was there every day. She had worked for a rehabilitation center, so she had a lot of information. So the night before we were scheduled to amputate my fingers, she came in, she sat on my bed, and the words came difficult for her.
Yes,
and
sure.
She had said to me that she couldn't comprehend what I must be going through. Now, at the time, I had an old home that I was in the process of renovating back to its almost original condition. And she went over there, she was walking through the house, sitting there looking at stuff, reminiscing about everything that I had done for her family, our friends, and all my other customers. And the more she thought about it, the more upset and depressed she got. And then she found herself sitting in my workshop. And she said, then I realized that there was a time in your life where all these tools were something new to you. And you taught yourself how to use them. And she said, when you get right down to it, your hands are just another tool.
Correct.
And no matter what is left, you'll be fine, because who you are, what you have done, and what you will do comes from your heart and in your mind.
Correct. Oh man, that's amazing. That's an amazing story.
That's stuck with me. I still get a little emotional.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
So it took several years for me to get back to doing what I wanted to do. I grew up in Baltimore City. Um, in 2000, I had the opportunity where I moved to Pennsylvania. I always wanted to live in the country. So I bought a small little 6-acre farmette, thinking it's going to be my last move. Totally remodeled the house. After I got that done, I got a knock on the door. The developer says, I want to buy your house. Found out he needed my property. It was the last piece. So we worked out a deal. And I was able to get a little bit more land. I got 41 acres there. So, got my own little paradise. And, you know, I've done a lot of stuff since I lived here. Like Fred mentioned, there's a lot of things that I've done. I've got a workshop outside.
Yep.
We'll discuss that and go through that next time, you know, at a later time. But we're here today to talk about some of my other projects, what I do here.
Right.
My current project is I'm working on a 1/24th scale garage for my 1/24th model scale car collection. And
I'll show you the car collection in a few
Yeah.
minutes. Yeah.
yeah, so when I was doing this, I built the dollhouse, and that's another thing that we'll get into later. But 1/12 scale, there's a lot of stuff out there for that. 1/24th scale, it's kind of limited. I didn't like any of the roofs, so I decided I'm going to build a standing seam roof.
There you go.
So used plastic sheet that's 20 thousandths of an inch, and the rails, standing seams, they're 30 thousandths by 60 thousandths. So, left a few of them here undone so I can show you what I've done.
Right. So I'm gonna pause it here and okay.
Okay. Now, what I've discovered is that everything a person comes into contact with on a daily basis was designed for people that had their fingers and use of their hands. So I don't have a lot of adaptive equipment. I've adapted myself to use the conventional tools. With this being as flimsy as that is, I needed a way to be able to put these on and keep them straight. So I have a little nylon block here. I use nylon because the glue and cements don't really stick to this.
Gotcha.
I've got a little slot in here, and start the first one. That sits in here. Take my glasses off, I can see.
That way you can see.
Yeah.
A lot of us are the other way around.
Well, that's the biggest problem right now is, you know, eyes are almost 70 years old. So this little stuff is kind of hard to see.
Right.
So set that in there.
And we have a liquid plastic cement.
And it has the needle point applicator.
Yeah, from Revell.
And started by putting a few little spots at 3 places. And I went uphill with it because it has a tendency to slide down and the script would move.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Okay, for this plastic, this cement works fairly quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So after it's on there for a few seconds, clean the tip off, run it down, and then just let that set up for a few minutes. Lift that out.
And there you are.
There you are.
So.
And as you can see, most of the stuff here is just conventional tools that are accessible and just about what anybody uses. Of course, I make helping hands out of different things.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Well, that's a great idea because every time I do that on mine, they're never straight, they're never spaced properly. So it's a perfect,
So nylon
perfect solution.
Nylon works great for that.
Yeah, cool. Well, how'd you cut the nylon? How'd you cut the notch?
This was, I don't know where I got this from. I mean, like I said, I've got a workshop out there and I've got a lot of stuff over the years. So I had a block of nylon, so I cut it on a table saw.
Okay.
And then just set the blade down in the table saw.
Oh, just cut a notch.
And then just run it right up against the fence.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Works great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I
Perfect.
mean, a lot of my projects, it takes me a long time to think about how I'm going to get them done, how I'm going to use the conventional tools, and how I'm going to adapt myself to that.
Right. Right.
And, I'll think about it, and a lot of times, I'll have a plan A,
Mm-hmm.
B, C, D, right? If something isn't working out right for me, these are inanimate objects.
Yes.
So it's like, that does nothing, it has nothing against me. I'm doing something wrong. I need to adjust how I'm doing what I'm doing.
Right. So you don't throw it up against the wall
Yeah.
like a lot of us used to.
No.
Yes. Yes.
I've learned to become very patient.
Patient. Yes. Exactly.
I mean, I get my exercise from reaching over and picking up stuff that I drop all the time.
Well, who doesn't?
Yeah.
Even us with the full hands.
Yeah.
And it ultimately disappears,
Yeah.
or is 10 feet from where you thought it should be.
Yeah. It's amazing how something can wind up on the other side of the room when you drop it.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. Yeah.
So what this is going on is over here. And I'll put the roof on in a minute. Now, these are the cars that I've built over the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of them I recently acquired this collection from someone. I'm kind of partial to the old style, the gassers, and then I've got some Pro Street cars in here.
Right. Right.
This one here, I have two 1973 Capri station wagons, and I couldn't find a station
You
wagon.
mean boats?
Yeah. So I decided I'm going to make an El Camino out of a 4-door Impala.
Oh, okay.
So that was something that I had come up with.
That's pretty cool.
Another one that I had a lot of extensive work on.
Oh, can I focus in there? Not really, but it's okay.
Okay. Was a 69 Camaro. I've always liked Camaros. I've had a lot of first generations. I currently have a 69 convertible. I wanted to do an altered wheelbase, so I had to do the body work and move the wheelbase forward. I made a tube chassis for it, and there's a lot of imperfections in these, but
You, the only one, probably knows it.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But I do the best that I can. You think back of what I used to be able to do when I had fingers,
Yeah.
compared to what I'm able to do now. I do the best I can, and and I'm happy with that.
Still pretty remarkable, though. That's all I can say. You amaze me every time I look at something you've done. I go, holy cow, I don't even know if I could do that,
Now, this garage is a work in progress.
Uh-huh.
It's working on the roof there. I've got a kit over there where it's got the 2-post lift and a lot of other pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to be like a little hot rod shop.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And if you look in the window there,
Which one?
right here and there.
Oh, that one there. Okay. See if I can zoom in. Yeah, there it is. Yep, in the back. Hey, there's a motor back there.
There's my little hot rod shop.
Yeah. Can I get that? Not
It's kind of
focusing,
hard to
but-
get with the phone, but yeah.
Yeah. It's not. Oh, there we go. Got a little bit. There we go. It looks pretty good. So what I'm gonna do is just pause here for a second and check. Okay.
Okay, now we got the roof on here, and
You saw Chuck use his Christmas lights.
yeah, it's just for the LED lights. Looking for something simple. It's just a battery powered LED Christmas lights. They're already in a string. They
Right.
have an on off switch, and the bulbs look like they're a little globe. So I think it throws just enough light.
Yeah, it's perfect. Perfect. So, and we'll turn here and I'll show you the card collection that he has. pretty, there's an RC car up there, you know
Yeah.
that?
Back in the late 80s, early 90s, when I was living in Maryland, there was an RC car club. I was very active with that. Some of the pieces that I have left over.
So, it's very, very nice car collection. Well, that's interesting. Our RC guys at the shop would love that.
This was built many years ago. We would have a concourse car show every year with the car club.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I've always got to do something a little different.
Yeah,
So this is the plastic tubing,
okay.
and it's basically it's a scale model.
Uh-huh.
And what I did with this was the engine, if you can see it, I made the engine out of balsa wood.
Oh, really?
But inside the balsa wood is an electric engine, electric motor.
Okay.
And it's very fragile and you don't want to pick it up.
Uh-huh.
But I actually made the differential where there's a ring and pinion gear in there.
Oh, cool.
And it will run. It's not very fast.
Uh-huh.
But over the years, you know, it's just pieces of glues broken loose and stuff.
Oh, yeah. So, but, yeah, Camaros, Chevelles. Yeah, in fact, my first car was a 1970 Nova.
Mine was the 55 Chevy.
Really? So, really, really cool. Yeah, Chuck, that's amazing.
Okay.
So let's, we got another project we're going to show you here in just a second. Okay, so Chuck built this little module. What, how many years ago did you do this? 2, 3,
No,
maybe?
probably about 5 or 6 years ago.
Oh, okay. So, it's really, really neat. He's got a lot of features on here that most of us probably wouldn't even think about including.
Well, with this, I wanted to try to do something with water. This is my first attempt at water. I think I kind of went overboard when I did the white water. I think it's a little too heavy for this, but it was my first attempt. The buildings on this I scratch built.
Okay.
You know, each one of these pieces were cut individually. I mean, the roof is a sheet.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, every piece was cut.
Right, and that, is it balsa or
No, it's
plastic?
the plastic.
Plastic, okay. The evergreen or plastic or whatever. And we get an overturned vehicle.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So, but he's done pretty remarkable.
This was scratch built. I don't know whether we can pick it up. I don't know if you can see in here in the pond. We got a fisherman, but there's an actual little fish jumping out of the water.
Yeah, you can kind of see it there, just a little bit off to where the orange, just a little bit left of the orange, you can see the fish coming up. Yep. So very, very cool. Yeah, when you first brought that in, I was working at M.B. Klein's at the time, and it just amazed me, you know, what Chuck had accomplished with this.
Yeah, that was the one when you moved to Cockeysville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So really neat.
And then there's, I don't even remember where they're at. Oh, there's a bird in the tree here. There's some birds in the trees.
Mm-hmm.
There's some snakes.
There's snakes and
there's little lizards and stuff in there.
Right. No, really, really nice. That's cool. So on to the next project.
Okay. This is a smaller version of a dollhouse that I built. The bigger one downstairs that we'll go over that one in a future video.
Mm-hmm.
But this one here, none of this stuff is a kit. It's all scratch built. Everything that you cut out for the filling in between the logs, that's just beige caulk.
Okay. Looks like Lincoln logs, though, doesn't it? If anybody remembers that.
The stonework in the fireplace excuse me, I have two streams on the property here. So the stone from that came from those streams. And again, that is just set in beige caulk.
I think I was giving people a finger, so hopefully
Okay.
I can't get that out of there. But
And again, you know, there's a lot of stuff on the internet. Yeah, I try to make it as realistic as possible, add as much detail. Like the stuff in the shelves in the bathroom.
yeah. Get upstairs and I'll
Yeah.
go over to the bathroom. Yeah. So. Really, this is really cool. It looks so real.
The butcher block table there, I made that. That was scratch built. The refrigerator and the hutch and stuff, they were kits.
And then even, your medicines and all in the medicine cabinet and the loo. So, pretty remarkable, to say the least. All right, where do we go from here? So as part of this video, I had a few questions for Chuck. And one of them is, how many times do you get asked, how do you actually do this? Or what is your philosophy in handling this? Which we kind of talked about before in the introduction, but I mean, what's your general response to that?
Well, think about that a lot, and there's no one answer. It's a combination of things. One of the primary ones are what my sister had said, about who you are comes from in your heart and in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And early on, so I spent 3.5 months in the hospital. It took a good 2 years of rehabilitation, relearning how to do everything. And during that time, I got to watch a lot of movies. And one of the movies that I watched was the first Jurassic Park. And they had engineered the dinosaurs. And it was a scene where they're in the lab, they're on the island and they're in the lab. And Jeff Goldblum's character was a scientist. And he asked the other scientist, how do they control breeding in the wild? And his response was, they're genetically engineered to be females. Jeff Goldblum said, oh, no, life finds a way.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that for a minute. Life finds a way.
A way. Yep.
I'm alive.
Yep.
And while I had my tough times, I always looked to the future. I knew I was going to get through this. Had a lot of love and support. And this was at a time before the internet was popular. And I received hundreds of cards and letters from people all over the country.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one thing. The other movie, and there's a lot of them, but the two primary ones were that and the Shawshank Redemption, where they're in prison, and at the end, Morgan Freeman says, you can either get busy living or you can get busy dying.
Good Lord.
Well, I'm a prisoner of my body in a sense.
Yes. Yeah.
And it was up to me what I wanted to do.
Right.
Now a lot of times people, how many times people say, oh, I can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't you do that?
Correct.
I think a lot of times it's fear. It's fear of being ridiculed by other people, fear of failure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the way I look at that is, I like doing this stuff before it's happened to me. I still want to do it afterwards. So I'm going to try it.
Right.
And to me, failure is not trying.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, there's a lot of imperfections in the things that I do now.
Right.
But I do the best that I can. Sometimes I'm my own worst enemy, where I try to make it a little bit better and wind up being clumsy and have to start all over again.
Yeah.
But, You just do your best you
But-
can.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, and it's the same thing. A lot of us do that. The ones that don't have this handicap that you have, we run through the same thing.
Yeah,
That's just
yes.
it. I'll do the same thing. I'll think, okay, I can make this a little bit better, and the next thing you know, it's really screwed up. So, you know, it's just that. But, you know, this is my humble opinion that I think you are such an inspiration for people because of what you've accomplished and what you're still able to do. You amaze me every time you come in with a project. You really do. Because some of the stuff you do, I don't think I can do. You know, well, I say that, but like you said, until I try,
Yeah.
I can. And I've done it my entire career, even my career as an engineer, I would think I can't do that. But when I dove into it, I find out, well, it wasn't as hard as I imagined it was going to be.
You think about it and you make it harder than it actually has
Exactly.
to be, right?
Exactly.
Now, I'm not a fan of internet and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a necessary evil. But there's a lot of information out there. And, you know, seeing a couple of these here hobby groups, whatever their doll houses or the models,
Yeah.
and seeing some of the work that these people do, it's just unbelievable. And, you know, it's like, I want to try that.
It's an inspiration, essentially. You know, and it's the same thing. There's so many, if you don't know how to do something, go ahead and look on the internet. Somebody's done it. And the thing I point out to people is the internet's great for that. YouTube's great for that. But that particular thing that person's doing may or may not work for what you want to do.
Well,
But most of the time it gives you an idea and that you can see it can be done. And you may not do it exactly that way, but it gets done.
Yeah.
And
I mean, you know, the way I do things,
yeah.
you know, it's like,
Right.
you know, we go out and later, you know, when we go out in my workshop.
Yeah, we're going to post a follow-up video that shows that, right?
You know, how I used to be able to do things and how you do things doesn't always work for me.
Yeah.
You know, it may take 15 different tools before I find something that's going to work.
Right, right. And when we show you that video, you're going to be absolutely amazed at what he's been able to build out
And then,
there.
like the things that I've done, like the big wheel trike.
Yeah.
I'm not the first one that has built something like that.
Right.
You know, because what's there, 7.5 billion people on this planet?
Yeah.
Somebody else has done it before.
Right, right.
You know, but
right.
we all add our different, you know, take to it.
Has to it, right.
So,
Cool.
okay.
Are we good? Chuck, thanks very much, my friend.
Thank you.
Like I say, we'll follow up with one or maybe even two more videos.
Okay.
We haven't got down to his model railroad yet, which is pretty amazing.
That's another
And
one
the
of project.
outside,
Outside maybe
and the
when it's a little
outside.
warmer.
Yeah, maybe we'll wait for that one.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks.
Thank you, Fred.
All right. Take care.